So now you're looking at this thing and wondering, well, what just happened? Everything just changed. The characters are colored now. Well, the characters have, since I showed you guys how to do flats in other parts, I wasn't going to go and waste your time and show you the same thing again. So let's zoom into an interesting area and go in and take this off and see exactly what we're dealing with here. If you look carefully, you can see that these things are, the flats are definitely pixelated for a reason. For a reason. Put the lines back on. Oops, we can pick the right color for once. How I did that is I just used the pencil tool or used my usual mask tools like lasso and polygon lasso. And what I did is I turned off the anti-aliasing. And the reason why I do this is because if I wanted to change something, for example, so say I'll take my mask tool, I'll put it on contiguous, it has no anti-aliasing on it. I can click this and I'll take off contiguous so that it masks more than the local area. So everything that color is now masked. But better than that is that it's masked right to the edge. Nothing more, nothing less. So in other words, what can happen is that if I need to, I can go in and change things quite easily. So if we wanted to make that, we want to make it like red instead, or like a pinkish sort of thing, or yellow, or whatever. Or you can get a better, more dramatic example, do it this way. We can change it easily. If I would have had this so that it had anti-aliasing on it, that is, that the lines were sort of fuzzy, or there's that slight, how do you explain anti-aliasing? Like that, it's softer. What'll end up happening is that when you go to mask, well, better than that, let me just show you. If I take this color, for example, and I go and I use just the brush, and I have it on like a feathery brush, and just do something like that. If I go and mask, what's going to happen is that it doesn't take all the way. It doesn't take all the way to the end of the color. So when I change it, you see that? Look at that. This part's still blue. Whereas this part was perfect. This part has no problem. The initial line we drew with the non-pixelated or the non-anti-aliased line changes perfectly, but the one that is anti-aliased, when we tried to select it, it didn't select all the way here, and the reason why is because that mask will only go to 50% or however much the threshold is. And at a certain point, you have to figure out what the threshold is going to be. So if you make it like too much in order to get all the blue, then it's actually going to take some of the white as well too. So it just becomes a real hassle chasing it back and forth, back and forth. So instead, this is a much easier way. So for your flats, just keep them non-anti-aliased, and then this way, you don't have to fuss and muss with it. So now, what I did is I went through, flatted out everything, all of them. There they are, they're all flatted out. So now, and another thing I did as well too, that you might have noticed, you might not, if you compare it to the other videos, you will see it. What I did is I actually made this a little bit more yellowish. The same with the cars as well too, those layers. So the car layer, I made that a little bit more yellowish. The reason why is because I wanted it to appear more sunny, and I wanted it to appear more hot. And usually if you make things sort of reddish or yellowish, it has an effect of doing that. Like it's a really sort of stagnating, like really hot day. Not a pleasantly warm day, it's hot. The sun is like baking everything. So if I made this, originally how I had it before, it was more bluish. It has a more sort of cool and fresh sort of feel that, oh, you're by the ocean and it's nice and cool. But in this case, the water is really, really shallow. It's not that deep, so shallow water usually keeps its heat like quite a bit. So I made it here that it's like really, really hot. So, and I wanted to accentuate that with the colors of the backgrounds. And also I lightened up the backgrounds just a little bit and the cars just a little bit so that the characters would stand out. Now these are my initial flats. I might keep them this color, I might not, but the good thing is that if I need to change them, my friend, I can. So I can change all of the flats if need be to whatever I need them to be. So let's go ahead and so that's flats. So, and they're all throughout the entire page here. So I'm just looking and thinking, how are we going to do this? Now the other thing is that in the actual making of the flats, what I did is that for the bikini, the lips, teeth, shirt, all these sort of things, basically what happened is I did those things on a clip mask. So if I unclip the mask, you'll see what that did. So now look, it goes all over and this sort of thing. The reason why I did it this way is because now I blocked out the characters. Initially, I blocked them out by skin color because the majority of them showing is skin, or it's just an easy way to do it because you want to make sure the skin is the same color as what they were in the previous panel or page or what have you. So in this case, this girl has dark skin, this girl has medium skin, this girl has medium dark skin. So then, and again, all those things are all anti-aliased, non-anti-aliased, sorry. So they're easy to select. So then if I zoom out, what I can do is pick my mask tool, turn down the tolerance to about 10 so that it only picks that color. And there you go, already right there, now I can just work on her, whatever I need to, and it won't go outside of the line, so it's easily selectable. Now, when you put the clipping mask on, it clips it, the clipping mask clips this layer's transparency to whatever is visible underneath it. So in other words, without it, you know, we have it so everything is going out the edges here. So if I turn on the lines, you'll see. So all this brown flat here, if I turn this on, it'll clip to whatever the skin is in this case, because we have it clipped to the skin. We have all the clothing clipped to the skin layer here, layer 7 over here. So that's how it works, and it's very, very, very handy. So anyways, now that we know we want that, well, we'll just save it. So save, and then we'll save a new version. And you know, as you move on, like you should save new versions of things. Don't just keep on saving over the same file in case you have to go back and change things. So usually I do this so I can consolidate layers. Like now that I know I'm happy with those layers, I'm sorry, those flats, so what I'll do is I'll merge those layers together. So now we have everything on one layer, nice and clean. So now we go to the next stage, which will be the actual shading and the plotting of light. So do I want to start? Yeah, I'll start another video just for that too. This is to explain to you guys the flats and how I do it with the characters. So generally, one other note that I will say is that typically if I find that the backgrounds are competing a little bit too much with the characters, I will lighten them up and sort of desaturate them a little bit so that the characters are the most bright thing. And don't forget, we'll also be putting, you know, some word bubbles in here as well too. I have to put some word bubbles in. Although usually when people do bubbles, they do it in a different way. Like I mean, for us, we have someone do it for us. So, but in this case, I'll put them in too. There are specific bubble sets that you can use, but I'll be just making them just by hand, and then you'll see how I do it. So, but we'll get to that bridge when we get there. So let's stop this one, and then we'll go and start actually doing some shading, cell shading.